Okay, so ever picture yourself like a detective, but for safety, in a totally unexpected setting? Get ready to dig into mine health and safety engineering. We've got a stack of research here, and trust me, this is not your typical desk job.
It's amazing the sheer amount of knowledge this field needs.
Yeah.
We're not just talking hard hats and steel-toed boots here.
Right. Got to go deeper than that.
It's all about mixing serious engineering know-how with a deep understanding of, get this, mining regulations, risk assessment, and even human psychology.
Psychology. Hold on, I wouldn't have put those two together.
It's more connected than you'd think.
Yeah.
Imagine, right, you're analyzing all this geological data, and boom, you realize a mine shaft is close to collapsing.
Okay, scary situation.
A mine health and safety engineer is the one who steps in, uses their expertise not just to, physically reinforce the shaft, but to understand what that event, that near miss, does to the miners mentally, preventing a disaster, physically and mentally.
Wow.
Now,
Okay. Talk about high-stakes problem solving. So how do you even start climbing that career ladder?
usually you'd begin by helping out with, like, safety inspections, training programs, making sure everyone's up to date on the latest and greatest safety protocols. It's about laying the groundwork.
Soaking it all up.
Exactly. And as you get more experience under your belt, you might move on to developing entire safety programs tailored to specific mine operations.
So like anticipating problems before they even happen.
Exactly. Crafting strategies to deal with those risks before anyone's even in danger.
Sounds like a lot of responsibility, especially as you move up.
It definitely evolves. The sources we have detail how, a really experienced mine health and safety engineer, they might be overseeing multiple mine sites, talking to high-level management, even looking at industry trends
Trying to stay ahead of the game.
to make sure those safety protocols are always evolving, never outdated.
Smart. And speaking of staying ahead, I think our research mentioned something about this being a high-demand field, right?
Absolutely. The Bureau of Labor Statistics, they're projecting a 4% job growth in this sector, just from 2019 to 2029.
So pretty good sign for the future.
Definitely a promising future for anyone looking at this path.
But it's going to be tough too, right? It's not all easy.
You're right. It's definitely not your typical 9 to 5. We're talking long hours, sometimes dangerous conditions.
And a lot of pressure.
Knowing that people's lives are on the line every day, it takes a special kind of person.
Someone who can handle all that, who really cares about safety.
The source material really highlights that. Successful mine health and safety engineers. They're analytical, detail-oriented, totally dedicated to making sure everyone's safe at work.
It's definitely not for everyone, that's for sure. But you know what really caught my eye? The technology involved. It's not just clipboards and those little checkmark lists anymore, is it?
Oh, not even close. We're in the high-tech age, even for mine safety. Think drones, but not just any drones. These are tricked out with LiDAR sensors.
LiDAR, what do those do?
They map out the entire mine, especially the areas that might be unstable. And they create these crazy detailed 3D models that show, like, pinpoint any potential hazards.
So you can see exactly where the risks are.
Yeah, it's incredible. And to forget those old air quality monitors, now it's all AI-powered systems. They can actually predict a problem before it even becomes a problem.
Wow. So to work with all that tech, you'd need some serious training, right? What kind of education are we talking about to even get into this field?
Well, most mine health and safety engineers, they start with a good foundation in, mining engineering, occupational health and safety, even environmental engineering.
So those are the basics.
Yeah, those are kind of like your building blocks, right?
Yeah.
But it's the learning after that, the continuous learning, that really makes someone stand out.
So it's not just like, get your degree and you're good to go.
Not in this line of work.
That's
Nope.
it.
New regulations are always coming out, new tech. I mean, they even use virtual reality now for safety simulations.
Whoa, seriously.
It's wild. The point is, best practices are always evolving. Staying current is key.
So how do you do that? I know we came across certifications, right?
Exactly. Certifications are huge. Think of them like, badges of honor. They show employers that you're serious. You're dedicated to this field, even though it's always changing.
Showing you're on top of it.
Yeah. And one of the big ones is the CMSP, Certified Mine Safety Professional. It tells everyone, look, I'm not just here for a job. This is important to me.
It's a calling, not just a paycheck.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that dedication, it shows in how your career progresses. Remember how we were talking about starting with those safety inspections, the training programs?
Yeah, the first step on the ladder.
Right. So you start there, getting your feet wet. You're learning the ropes, understanding the mine environment, making sure everyone's on the same page about safety. And then, as you gain experience, you really learn the ins and outs, you might become, say, a junior mine health and safety engineer.
Taking on more responsibility.
For sure. And that's where you start getting more hands-on, right?
Yeah.
You're doing those risk assessments, brainstorming ways to tackle those risks, working closely with supervisors, managers. It's not just following the rules anymore.
You're shaping them.
You got it. And if you've got those skills we were talking about, that analytical mind, that attention to detail, you climb higher. You become an intermediate mine health and safety engineer. That's a whole other level.
What's that like?
Okay, now you're leading the charge. You're the one developing these big, comprehensive safety management systems, doing audits, making sure everything is up to code. You become the go-to person for anything safety related.
You're like the safety superhero of the mine. So what about peak superhero level? Senior mine health and safety engineer. What are they doing?
Now that's where your expertise really shines. You're overseeing multiple mine sites. You're giving advice to senior management, making sure everyone understands the big picture safety goals. You're analyzing those industry trends, trying to predict what regulations are coming next. It's like
Future-proofing the whole operation.
exactly. It's the culmination of years of hard work, dedication, always learning new things. But remember, it's not all about the technical stuff, the hard skills. Our sources made it clear you got to have the soft skills too, the people skills, to really succeed as a mine health and safety engineer.
So you need more than just the textbook knowledge, right?
Yeah, it's one thing to know the rules, but actually putting them into practice, making sure people are really safe, that takes something else.
Those soft skills.
Exactly. And one of the biggest is communication. You're constantly talking to people, from the miners themselves to the big bosses in the office. You got to explain these complicated safety things in a way that everyone gets, no matter who they are.
Bridging that gap, the technical stuff and how it affects real people.
Totally. And you got to be a bit of a psychologist too, thinking about how people think, how they react to different situations. That helps build a culture of safety.
Because it's people down there in those mines, not robots.
100%. And speaking of people skills, don't forget leadership. It's not enough to just manage the rules. You have to get people to follow them, to believe that safety is important.
Leading by example, right? Making it clear that safety comes first.
That's it. And don't underestimate problem solving, thinking critically on the spot. Every mine is different. Every day throws something new at you. Got to think fast, see the risks, come up with solutions that keep everyone out of harm's way.
Like a safety detective, always one step ahead.
Exactly. Always looking for clues that could prevent an accident before it happens. And here's the thing. This field is never really the same from one year to the next. New tech pops up, regulations change, you're always learning better ways to do things. You got to be able to adapt, to keep learning your whole career.
Always a student, huh? Going to conferences, reading up on the latest research, all that.
It's all part of the job. The more you know, the more prepared you'll be for whatever comes your way. And honestly, a career that challenges you like that keeps you learning, that's a pretty amazing thing.
Especially when you know that your work is literally saving lives, preventing people from getting hurt. It becomes more than just a job then, doesn't it?
It becomes a calling, a purpose. And for the people who feel that call, who are drawn to that kind of responsibility, well, mine health and safety engineering has a bright future ahead.
It's been quite a journey today exploring this career path. We've covered the technical side, the surprising role of psychology, even the high-tech tools of the trade.
We've talked about the skills, the training, and of course the impact this work has on so many lives.
But as always, we want to leave you with something to think about. We've spent all this time on what makes a good mine health and safety engineer. But what do you think makes someone truly exceptional? What sets them apart, makes them a real champion for safety, someone who looks out for the people who go down into the earth every day? That's something to consider as you learn more about this field. Thanks for joining us for another deep dive. We'll see you next time.